Hey there, welcome to Craft Central Designs. I have beautiful Christmas ornaments for you today. I have an eclectic assortment, all easy and inexpensive to create and so much fun. From coastal to traditional to a Grinch ornament, these ornaments are certain to look fabulous on a Christmas tree. Welcome to all to my channel today. Please consider subscribing if you are not currently. And if you would, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. And as always, I love receiving your comments, and I'd love to know which one is your favorite ornament in this tutorial today. Okay, let me show you how I created these 5 ornaments that I have to present to you today. The first one we're going to do is a coastal ornament. I have these wood rings from the wood department at Hobby Lobby. They're around 4 inches. I'm going to be using 3 sand dollars, 2 scalloped shells, and a starfish, and a little tiny starfish. I'm going to use Snow White Waverly chalk paint, Waverly chalk paint in the color ivory, some ultra fine white glitter, Mod Podge, some teeny tiny little half pearls, and some cotton cord, macrame cord. You could use a jute cord as well. I'm going to be painting my ornaments today. I'm going to be using that Waverly chalk paint in the color ivory. Now this ornament is going to be a combination of ivory color and a little bit of white as well. That will be obvious in the pearls and also in the ribbon. So I'm going to begin by wrapping my wood ring. I'm going to be using this cotton macrame cord. It's an off-white color, kind of a creamy color. It's very pretty, but I'm going to also suggest to you that a jute cord would be beautiful as well. But go ahead and begin by wrapping your wood ring by placing just a dab of glue there just to hold the beginning of the cord when you get started, and then just start wrapping. I wrapped everything nice and snug, all of the cords pressed together so there's no gaps. And when I got to the end of wrapping, I just put another dab of glue. I'm going to be using this narrow, very narrow white ribbon with a touch of silver edging. So like I mentioned, I'm going to have some white and some off-white on this piece. I'm just doing some figure 8 loops, and I'm actually doing 2 figure 8s to make up this bow, which is going to be the base of the bow. It's going to actually have 2 different ribbons. I have a little piece of very fine wire there that I'm just going to wrap around the center, pull it really, really tight, and twist. Now, this ornament obviously is intended to appear like a wreath, and so every wreath needs a bow, in my world anyway. So I'm creating a really pretty one here. And what I'm going to do later, you'll see I have an extremely tiny starfish. I'm going to be painting that, glittering it up, and that's going to go right in the middle of that bow to finish that bow off. So I'm now using a very, very, very narrow ivory colored ribbon, satin ribbon, with edging in gold. So this is adding a little bit of just a tiniest touch of gold, and in the other ribbon I'm adding the tiniest hint of silver. So this ornament is really so, so pretty. Now for this bow, I did 3 loops or 3 figure eights. And again, I just take some fine wire, wrap it around very tightly, twist it, and then cut off the excess. I'm going to be placing these 2 bows together, the ivory one on top. And this bow is going to be placed at 6 o'clock on that wreath ornament. Now, perhaps you have some shells. Perhaps you went on vacation somewhere and you were shell searching on the beach and you brought home some little shells. This would be a nice opportunity to use them and incorporate them into your Christmas decor. I am a lover of coastal. I live in Florida. As if you follow my channel, you know this by now about me, but I am a lover of anything coastal. So creating an ornament like this is just a joy for me. I'm going to be using that ultra fine glitter. I really prefer the ultra fine as opposed to the chunky glitter. So I'm going to be glittering up my sand dollars. I actually have 3 of them, very small ones. I want to say they're maybe 1 inch to 1.25 inches in size. I have a starfish that I'm also going to paint and glitter. And I have 2 little small scallop shells. Maybe they're like 1.5 inches. And so each of those shells is going to be embellishing that wood ring with the cord wrapped around it. Now I'm going to create a hanger. I have this cord that I had gotten at Michael's at some point in time. I really love it. It's an off-white cord. You could as well just use the same cord to create a hanger that you use to wrap around the wood ring. If you use a jute cord, you could also use a jute twine for the hanger, which would be just a little bit thinner. I just tied a knot in the end of my cord, and I can either leave the knot at the top or I can pull it around and place the knot in the back, and then you'll just see the loop of cord on the top. You could do either or, whatever your preference is. I also put a little dab of Aleene's tacky glue to hold that cord. Now what I did was I just pulled it and sandwiched it in between 2 cords. And that's going to hold very nicely there. But I am going to add a little bit of glue. I love to use Aleene's tacky glue because it dries clear. And it's, less messy, if you will, than hot glue. But you always have to worry about hot glue when you're doing anything with cord because it tends to really show. So as much as I possibly can, I'm going to use Aleene's tacky glue on this ornament. Okay, so I have my hanger now. And I have my bow. I'm going to put my bow together. And I'm going to place my little tiny starfish right in the middle of that bow. And it looks so, so pretty. So I have my 2 bows combined and my little starfish right in the center. So now I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I'm going to begin glittering up my shells. Now you could have sprinkled the glitter on while the paint was wet. I wasn't sure exactly if I was going to glitter up all of the shells, or I wasn't certain at the onset exactly what I was going to do. But then, so I decided to just wait and then just put a little bit of Mod Podge, no big deal, and sprinkle the glitter on. But I did end up glittering all of them. There's that pretty starfish. Now, I did just put one of those starfish on, and it looks a little bit asymmetrical on the wreath ornament, but I absolutely love it that way. And you'll see what I mean here in just a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and glitter up my starfish here. Not too much glitter, but I do want to cover it very lightly. So I just open up one hole on the cap, and I just tap my finger to control the amount of glitter that's going on those pieces. So, like I said, I ended up with 3 small sand dollars, a starfish, that little mini tiny starfish, and 2 of the clamshells, which is what I'm doing right here. Now, you could use any little shells that you like. You could use a combination of different shells. I could tell you one thing, to cover, if you use shells that have a lot of color on them, like brown colors, they're a little bit harder to cover with the chalk paint. If you don't mind putting a number of coats on, you'll get it covered. Or maybe you like it like that. Maybe you want to put those on just like they are naturally. That's up to you. You could just put Mod Podge on them and sprinkle glitter. There's 100 combinations of what you could do with these. So you do you, whatever you like. Now I have this collection of half pearls. I have all different sizes. I got these a few years ago when I was making a mermaid wreath. And I use my craft tweezers to help put these on. But I wanted to put a few little half pearls on my clamshells. Now, I didn't do this on the sand dollars. I just wanted to add a little something on my clamshells. So I took my craft tweezers and I dipped my half pearl in a little bit of glue, and I just placed them around on the shell, and that added a really pretty touch. All right, so I did kind of a dry run to see where I wanted to place everything. And now I'm going to go about gluing everything on. I'm going to be using Aleene's Tacky Glue to glue everything on. So I just put a generous portion on the back, and those will glue very nicely to that macrame cord. Now all of my embellishments are going to be on the bottom half of my ornament, my wreath ornament. And there's what I mean about that starfish creating an asymmetry, if you will, on that ornament. But I absolutely love it like that. I like it kind of protruding from the side of the wreath ornament. I think it's just so pretty like that. And you can't really see that well, but those shells are very shimmery with glitter. That ultrafine glitter just makes such a pretty presentation on this ornament. Now I'm going to put my clamshells on. I have my little pearls on there. And that's going to be so pretty with that bow at the bottom. And notice how I kind of overlap my shells. This would make as well a beautiful gift for someone who's really a beach lover. I think that ornaments are such a beautiful gift. And I've said this before on my channel, but I love the idea of giving ornaments because each year that the recipient takes that ornament out, they think of you and that you made this beautiful handmade ornament just for them. I think that's a beautiful idea. Okay, so you could see my little half pearls there, my little shimmery shells. It's looking so pretty. And now I'm going to put my bow on. And then after I put my bow on, I decided I had a little empty space right over the top of the bow. So that's where I ended up putting the third sand dollar. And that was it for this ornament, and it just turned out so lovely. Now you can also paint your shells different colors if you prefer that. I did a Christmas coastal wreath. If you look in my playlist, it's back, I think I did it for Christmas in July last year. But it's so, so pretty. But there's a lot of demonstration on how to decorate and your shells for a Christmas piece, whether it be a wreath or an ornament. If you look on there, I actually painted my shells kind of a different shades of blue, and I placed pearls on them, and oh, it's so pretty. So if you're curious about that, just search back in my playlist and you'll see the wreath that I did. It's so pretty. Okay, ornament number 2. Now this is from the Woodpile brand in the wood department at Hobby Lobby. It's just a little birdhouse, and I just thought it was super cute. It already has the little jute cord hanger. And I thought that would make a really cute ornament. I believe it was $2.99. I'm going to be using Waverly Antiquing Wax, red paint, which is the Crafters Collection from Hobby Lobby. That's the one that I'm going to be using. Snow White Waverly chalk paint, and I have some baking soda there. And some ultra fine glitter in white. I have that little evergreen pipe cleaner. I'm going to be making a little tiny wreath to go around that hole on the birdhouse. And I'm going to be creating a little bow to go on the wreath. So the first thing I'm going to do is peel off the tag, of course. But I believe I'm going to be doing the base of the birdhouse with Waverly Antiquing Wax. Now, I used a little brush, but I also used a paper towel to wipe off any excess. And I'm going to create that look with the antiquing wax on the bottom and under the roof right there. The top of the roof is going to be covered with snow. And then as well, the little perch on the front of the birdhouse. That's also going to be the antiquing wax. But my birdhouse is going to be red. And this is a Crafters Collection, Hobby Lobby's brand. And it's just simply called Red. So I'm going to be painting the birdhouse, as you can see here. It's coming along. This is a very quick ornament to create, but it's so cute. So what I'm going to be doing is creating a mixture of Snow White Waverly chalk paint and baking soda. What I want to do is create a textured paint to look like snow on top of the roof of the birdhouse. So I do about a 50-50 ratio, something like that. I just keep adding the baking soda in just gradually until I have the texture that I want. And I want it thick, so I'm going to basically stipple it on there so that it looks like snow. So I'm going to go ahead and do my roof now. I am going to be sprinkling some ultrafine glitter on there so that it looks glistening like snow. Now I did the top of the roof, but then I also ended up just kind of stippling a little bit of that paint to look like it was kind of, I don't want to say dripping over the side, but yeah, I don't know what word I want to use for that. I'm going to show you what I mean here in a second. But you know, I think that on the roof, it didn't look natural enough to just have that straight line where the white is on the roof. So in plain words, I just made the snow, the look of snow, come over the sides of that roof a little bit. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. So I just sprinkled on my ultra fine white glitter. Now I went around the bottom and put a little, just stippled a little bit of that mixture around the base. And then I did it around the sides of the roof. And I just dabbed paint along the edge. You can see me doing it there. Just to give it more of a natural look of snow. And I'm telling you, this was the quickest ornament I've ever made, I think. But I think it's so pretty. It's just so simple and so pretty. And now I'm just going to take that, I just call it an evergreen pipe cleaner. And I'm just going to figure out how big of a circle I need to create my little wreath that's going to go around that hole in the front of the birdhouse. And there you have it. Now the ribbon I was initially going to use was a little bit too thick. So I decided to just use that red cord and create a very, very, very tiny, tiny bow. And just placed it on that little wreath. And I'm going to glue that little wreath right to the front of that birdhouse. And it was that easy to do. And I think it's going to look so pretty on a Christmas tree. Another suggestion, in case you have never thought of doing this, is it's really fun to put birds' nests on the branches of a Christmas tree. Now, I mean artificial birds' nests, but you can usually find them in a craft store. But they really look great sitting on a tree branches. I used to put them on my Christmas trees all the time. And this kind of an ornament with something like that, with birds on the tree and little bird's nests, that would look really pretty. I dabbed a little bit of snow, if you will, on the perch. And that was it for that ornament. So easy. It already has the jute cord on there, so I didn't even have to create a hanger. And I'm going to show you the ornament here if I could just get done fussing with that little bow. And there you have it. Look how adorable that is. So simple, but yet so cute. I love it. Okay, Now I'm going to use these wooden coasters again. I absolutely love these. I think initially I had gotten these on Temu. They're almost 4 inches, not quite. I'm not a Temu fan, by the way. I mean, the worst thing, they have so many awesome things for crafting. Oh my goodness, you could go crazy. They have things that you can't find anywhere else. But once you order something from Temu, they never leave you alone. Constantly texting and emailing, and oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to do a gingerbread ornament. I have some burlap there, the regular crafting tools, some Mod Podge, and I have paint that is the gingerbread color. I'm going to be painting a face on. Now I wanted to do something a little bit different. I also have a wood round, a half wood round for the nose. I wanted to try something a little bit different. I wanted to put burlap on this wood coaster. And I don't know why. I don't know why I got it in my head that that's what I was going to do. But I first painted front, back, and sides in just any gingerbread color acrylic paint will do. And now I'm tracing around my wood round on a piece of burlap, which I acquired at the Dollar Tree. Now I'm just going to take my little wood half round, my little nose there, and I'm just going to put it on a piece of painter's tape and give it a couple of coats of red paint. I do iron my piece of burlap. I want it very flat, no wrinkles. Now I am going to be creating the cutest bow for the head, the top of the head of my gingerbread girl. Now I'm going to be creating a figure 8 bow. I just fold over my loops, then I fold it under, then I fold it over, then I fold it under. This is how another method of creating bows that I use. I'll show you that again here and explain it when I do the top bow that's going to go together with this white bow. So I have a white satin bow on the bottom, the base bow, and then I'm going to use my very favorite ribbon from Hobby Lobby with the polka dots on the top and the stripes on the other side of the ribbon. So I just create a 4-loop bow. I use a little bit of craft wire, very thin craft wire, wrap it around the center, pull it tight, twist it in the back, angle the tails of my bow. And now I have the base of my bow. And this is going to look so cute on the head of my little gingerbread girl. Okay, so face the good side of the ribbon toward you. Fold it under. Pinch it with your fingers and your thumb. Under. Now I'm going to fold it over and create a loop. Pinch it in the center. Fold it under. Pinch it with your thumb and your index finger. Fold it over. It's that easy. I'm going to take a little piece of wire, wrap the wire around. I'm going to be putting a heart button in the middle or the center of this bow. Oh, it's going to look so cute. And these little heart buttons I got on Temu. I've never seen them anywhere else. And that's what I mean about Temu. Honestly, if you could sit on Temu and just go crazy buying a little craft items. Yeah, I kind of did that one time, and, now they never leave me alone. So, but I was never regretful of the items that I received, though. I could tell you, I use them all the time, and I love the buttons. You'll see it here in just a minute. Now I'm going to put those two together. Look how cute that looks together with the white satin ribbon and the polka dot. Okay, so I have my wood round, my wood coaster, all ready to go with the paint. Now I'm going to put some Mod Podge on here, and I am going to place my burlap on there. Now, like I said, I just wanted to see what it would look like with the burlap, and then I was going to paint on the face. But you could skip this step. You don't have to do this step at all if you don't feel like it. Painting on burlap is a little bit trickier, but I think the outcome is super, super cute. But honestly, I would do this in a heartbeat again without the burlap because I don't know, I just go crazy for anything gingerbread. So any opportunity to do a gingerbread, anything, I'll do it. So I like to try different things. So here is my burlap, and I'm just pressing that on, making sure that I have it all centered. And I'm going to wait for that to dry. And I am then going to paint it with that gingerbread colored paint. I did take a little extra Mod Podge and put it on the top, mostly because I wanted to seal the edges. You know how burlap can fray? Well, I just wanted to control that by just placing some Mod Podge, and you can see I'm pressing down any little threads that are coming loose there. And I don't have to do any kind of sanding or anything like that, obviously. This is burlap, and I cut it very well to fit that round. Okay, so now I have my gingerbread colored paint, and right at the moment, I can't think of what it's called. I think it is a crafter's collection, whatever the Hobby Lobby brand is. Now my mind is going blank on the name. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and paint this up in that gingerbread color because this is going to be the face of my little gingerbread girl. So before I start drawing on any eyes or mouth or anything, I'm going to make sure that's completely dry. And I'm going to go ahead and glue on my nose right in the center. I'm going to be doing the white squiggle lines over the top of the head. It's going to have that cute little bow on the upper left. And I drew on my eyes and my mouth. On the corners of the mouth, I put 2 little red hearts. I rosy up the cheeks. I add 3 white freckles on each cheek. My eyes have lashes and a little white light in the eye, and you're going to see all that here in just a minute. But I'm putting my bow together. I just used hot glue, and I like to use my needle nose pliers to squish that together really, really well. Centers matched up. And then I have my little button there. It's a little heart-shaped wood button. Super cute for this gingerbread. And now you see that very cute little button. That's going to go on the upper left side of the gingerbread head. Okay, so I am going to put on my squiggles now. So I have Snow White Waverly chalk paint, and I just got a fresh new bottle. And I am just going to take a fine brush and just do my initial squiggle line just to set the line of the squiggles so then I can make it a little bit thicker. But right now I just want to get it on there and make sure I have it just the way I want it. So just squiggle lines. It's very easy. Now I'm going to have to go over that with my Snow White Waverly chalk paint. This is burlap, so you have to be patient to fill everything in. It's not like you're painting on a smooth wood surface. You're painting on burlap. But it really comes out really super cute. And it's a nice idea because it's like a textured finish. And you can't really see it there, but I think you could see it better in the opening video when I showed you all of the completed ornaments. Okay, so I took my black acrylic paint, and I painted in the eyes and the mouth. Now I'm going to rosy up the cheeks. I like to use red. I dip my paintbrush in my red paint, and then I use a paper towel, and I just brush off almost all the paint, and then I just do a circular swirling motion on the cheeks. Round and round and round. That's the way I do my cheeks. I am going to paint in 2 little tiny red hearts at the corners of the mouth. And there's the little red hearts, the little rosy cheeks, the nose is on. Now I have to do the eyes, the light in the eye and the eyeballs, the swoosh over the nose, and the little freckles on the rosied up cheeks. And now I'm getting ready to do that right now. Be sure you use a fine line paintbrush to do this kind of thing. So I'm putting on the 3 little freckles right now. You could do this or not do this. Do your gingerbread face like you like to do it. But this is how I like to do mine. I do put a very fine little white line around the 2 hearts on the corners of the mouth. I'm going to put the light in the eye. I'm going to paint in the eyeballs, and I'm going to paint a swoosh over the nose, and here you have it. The freckles are on. The eyes are completed. I did add eyelashes. Now I'm going to use a red cord for the hanger. Now I thought I was going to maybe attach the hanger. This is that satin cord that I got at Hobby Lobby in the Christmas department. But at first I thought maybe I was going to attach the cord to the sides. And you can see here that I'm kind of thinking about it. But then I ended up not doing that, creating a teardrop hanger, tying a knot in the end, and then just gluing that to the back of the head. So right at the bottom, I'm just going to tie a knot. And just glue that on. Be sure when you glue yours on that you have it right in the center so that it hangs straight. So I have my little knot on the back there, and I just glue that down. And then I'm going to put my bow on. And I'm going to now you could put it straight over in the center, over the head in the center, but I'm putting mine a little bit off to the left. And I'm going to place my bow. Those wood coasters have a little bit of thickness to them. So you can actually put glue on and rest that bow right on the top of that wood ornament. I put it on initially, waited for the glue to dry, then I went around the back and the back of the bow, and I took a little bit of Aleene's tacky glue and just put some little bits of glue here and there around the back side, just to be sure. Oh, that's so cute. Just to be sure that bow stays on there very well. Now, the hot glue should be fine for any of your ornaments. The only way that you need to worry about using hot glue is if you put your ornaments in a very hot attic, which I don't recommend. So if you do that, then I would be using Aleene's Tacky Glue, because your hot glue will get so hot that it will melt and the pieces will be falling off of your ornaments. Okay, the next ornament. This is the kind of a traditional ornament. I did one similar to this a number of weeks ago, but this time I'm using the wood coaster. I love the thickness of these. I love the size of these. I literally could do ornaments for like, I don't know, weeks and come up with new ideas because I love these. You could just do so much with them. Okay, so I painted the sides of the wood round and a little bit around the edges on each side. So I decided again I'm going to use this pretty Christmas plaid. Now you could use any scrap paper that you like for this ornament, but if you're going to include the words, and I'm going to be using Mary in white letters, you're going to have to be able to see the letters. So be careful what kind of scrapbook paper that you use. Be sure that whatever color letters that you use, you'll actually be able to see the letters well on the ornament. So for me, I wanted to choose something more red so that when I put those white letters on, it would look really pretty. Now I have some velvet ribbon there. It's a 1.5 inch. I'm just going to create a 2-loop bow. This is going to be the base of my bow. Then I'm going to put my favorite burlap ribbon on top of that with another bow. And I'm also going to put a little baby pine cone. Now, like I said, I did something similar. You might remember a number of weeks ago, I did an ornament similar to this, but I used one of the thin wood rounds. So now I'm changing it up, and I believe I put Joy on it. This time I'm putting Mary on it, and I'm just doing the bow a little bit different. It's the same, but it's a little bit different. So this looks really, really pretty on a traditional tree or a farmhouse style tree or a rustic style tree. I'm sorry, my hand's a little bit out of frame there. But I just created a 2-loop bow because this ribbon is 1.5 inch. That's all I could really do with this, where it would have been too much bow, too much thickness. So I'm just going to create my bow. Then I'm going to create my little burlap ribbon bow. This ribbon, I believe I got at Michael's. Absolutely love this ribbon. It's a burlap color, but it feels like burlap as well. But it's kind of a unique fabric. I just love it. It has, it's just so easy to work with. It holds its shape. I really love it. It's not wired, but yet it's very compliant. So I just love it. So I created a 4-loop bow using that fold under, fold over, fold under, fold over method. It's actually like 2 figure 8s by just folding and looping my ribbon. One of these days, I'm so busy right now. I'm just oh my goodness, I have so much going on. But sometime when I get a chance, I'm going to show you how I do this. And I'm also I've had a number of requests for my, how I created my little bow maker with my wood block. So when things calm down a little bit from the holidays, I'm going to address a number of things like that for you. Okay, so I trimmed around, I traced around my wood coaster, and I cut out my scrapbook paper. And now I am going to put on my letters. Now, whenever I put letters on an ornament or anything, I always write down the word that I'm going to use, and I determine which letter is right in the center. And I always start with the letter that's right in the center. That way, if I got that right, then everything else that I go from left or to right is going to be, it's going to be placed properly on that ornament. So I'm putting Mary on here, Merry, and I'm using my favorite Rae Dunn letters. I got these on Amazon. There's quite a number of stores on Amazon that carry these. I love them. And yes, I do have a Cricut, but I find these so convenient. They're just wonderful. I love these letters. I often use I call it my picker tool, but that's my little hook tool that I get from the Dollar Tree. I probably have 5 of these. And it helps me to place my letters on there straight and even. Now, these do have a sticky back, but after I place them, I do put a couple of layers of Mod Podge on the right over the letters, and that will seal them on there. And I just love the way that Mary looks on there. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my bow together, the burlap on top, and I have a little tiny pine cone there, using my needle nose pliers again to squeeze my bows together, nice and even right down the center. And again, this is such an easy ornament to make, but just so pretty. You could make a lot of these actually, and using scrapbook paper, and you could just do so many combinations with words. You could do joy, Noel, Mary. So much fun. Look at that pine cone. That looks so pretty in there. Okay, so I'm going to use a little piece of black satin ribbon. And I like this for this ornament because the plaid has black. And so I'm going to be using a black hanger. So I'm going to put a layer of Mod Podge on there. And I'm going to go ahead and apply my scrapbook paper. Now, sometimes I use a zip sander or a sanding block to sand the edges to get off any excess, and sometimes I don't. It depends on the scrapbook paper. If it's a thicker scrapbook paper, I just don't like the look of it. And also it tends to tear up really the paint job that you did on the sides of your ornaments. So if I don't want that, if I don't want to wear away with a sanding block the finish on the edges of my scrapbook paper, I just use my scissors and cut around. I find that if you have good sharp scissors, that'll do it. So I don't necessarily always sand off the excess on the edges of everything I do. So I created a teardrop shaped hanger with my satin ribbon. I crisscrossed it, put a little dab of glue, and I love the look of that on the back. That's exactly the way I left it. That's the way I like it. Made sure it's straight in alignment with the lettering. Don't forget to be careful. I also tried to match the direction of the plaid on the front and the back. I'm going to be placing my bow right at the very top. And again, because of the thickness of that wood, I can rest that bow right on the top of there. I'm going to go ahead and place that on there, perch it right on top of there. And then after I have that all dry, that hot glue, I'm going to go around the back with Alien Tacky Glue, and I do a little bit more gluing around the back side, right there where the ribbon sits or the bow sits on the top of that ornament. That way I'm sure that, everything's adhered well, and I don't have to worry about that coming off. Such a pretty ornament. All right, I'm going to do a Grinch ornament. I have a little Grinch face transfer. You can find this on Amazon. I've had these for a couple of years. They came in an assortment of sizes. Very easy to find that on Amazon. So I got this scrapbook paper at Hobby Lobby. It's all the Grinchy colors, including little red, a little bit of red, and it's all little tiny polka dots. I'm going to trace around my coaster. Again, I'm using these wood coasters. Cut it out with scissors and Mod Podge, just like we did the other ones. So I'm going to go ahead, use my sponge applicator. You can pick those up anywhere, any craft store, as well as the Dollar Tree. I did my painting. Notice that I bring my paint in just a little bit inside. And then I place my scrapbook paper on there, smooth it out. Now I'm going to be putting that Grinch face on there. Now maybe you think, wow, that's a print. Are you really going to put that face on that Grinch face on a print? Yes, I am. It will look completely awesome. Don't be afraid to mix it up, to do something a little bit different. Wait till you see how cute this turns out. Okay, so I did use my zip sander on the sides, and it created kind of a little raggedy edge, which I love for this Grinch ornament. It's all, a matter of preference, personal preference, but also a matter of what type of ornament you're doing. So I placed my little Grinch transfer down there, and I'm going to take my little spatula there and make sure I rub it all over the face because I don't want to be like missing an eyeball when I go to pull that film off of there. So I carefully go around, make sure that's all the lines of that Grinch face is going to stick on my scrapbook paper. This works so beautifully. I put it right in the center. I absolutely love it. This is a scrapbook paper with Grinch colors. So cute. I love this. Going to peel off that film and look at that. Love it. That looks really good. Okay, now of course, this ornament has to have a bow. So I have this really pretty, I think it's a very Grinchy ribbon that I got at Hobby Lobby. It has the Grinch green and red. And I also have this striped, kind of looks like a peppermint stripe from Hobby Lobby as well. And I'm going to create a little bow to go on the head of my Grinch. And again, same technique. I fold it under and over, fold it under, holding it in the center with my thumb and my index finger, and then I fold that over. I use a little piece of wire, wrap it around the center, pull it really tight so it kind of scrunches up the center of the bow. I'm going to be placing a little red jingle bell in the center of this bow. So this is going to be the base of my bow, this red and white striped. I love anything that looks like peppermint or candy with Grinch. I am a Grinch enthusiast. If you saw my Grinch Christmas tree, I'm sure you know that by now. Okay, now this is a more narrow ribbon, and it's a very stiff ribbon, but it's not wired. So I'm going to use that same technique. I fold it under, I fold it over, I fold it under, and then I fold it over. Right in the center, pinching it. Again, little piece of wire. Wrap it around. I'll trim my tails up, and then I'm going to hot glue a red jingle bell right in the center of that bow. Now, I was going to use a black satin ribbon for the hanger. I even went as far as to glue it on. And because I've used black hangers before with Grinch ornaments, and I did it because it matches the transfer, the black, and then I just didn't like it. But you know what? That's my prerogative to change my mind, and yours as well, as a crafter. So I ended up peeling that off. It looks okay, but I felt that the red satin hanger was going to be a better choice. And you'll see that I changed it. So I'm going to go ahead and put my bow together, gluing it with hot glue. Take my little needle nose pliers, give it a good squeeze until that hot glue dries. And then I'm going to pop my little jingle bell right in the center there. Okay, so that's going to go on the head of my Grinch. And not surprisingly, I believe I put it on the upper left. Not sure why I always do that, but I really don't like it all that much, just right over the head. I like it's a little bit off to the left. So again, I place it right at the top, resting it on the top of that wood coaster. And again, I go around the back, glue it. It's around the back a little bit to make sure it stays nice and secure. Trim up my tails. I love this ornament. I'm going to put this on my Grinch. Listen, it's not my tree, it's my son's tree, but I call it my tree. Actually, I call it a work of art. I told my son, if you haven't seen my Grinch tree, take a look. It was on my previous video. Okay, now you see I have my red hanger on there. Now I'm happy. I'm going to do something really cute here. I'm going to take a fine line paintbrush and some Mod Podge. I wanted a little something extra on here. I am going to create some squiggles with my Mod Podge. Then I'm going to take my Grinch Green Ultra Fine Glitter and I am going to sprinkle it over my squiggles. Oh, this really turned out great. Now I'm going to suggest don't do it too thin. Be sure that you have a good amount of Mod Podge as you go along with your squiggles. I do about 2 to 3 squiggles, then I drop my glitter in there because Mod Podge has a tendency to dry really quick. So I just went around that ornament and this turned out so cute. What a great addition to this ornament. It looks really awesome. And it's going to really sparkle on a Christmas tree. Now, look how cute that ornament is. I am loving it. And I hope you do as well. And I hope you feel inspired to make yet more ornaments. There's nothing like the joy of making ornaments. Oh my goodness, look at them all. I hope you love these. Look at my little burlap gingerbread. Oh my goodness. And I love the coastal ornament, just kind of elegant and beautiful. Our little birdhouse. And our Grinch. Oh, I love them. Let me know what you think of these ornaments. Okay, if you're not currently a subscriber, hope you would become one. Give this video a thumbs up. And until next time, you all take care.